Bravo. I'd like to recognize Mr. Hyson to please begin your opening statement.
All right, Chairwoman Mace, Ranking Member Connolly, and distinguished members of the subcommittee, thank you for the opportunity to testify today. I'd like to note that in addition to serving as the department's Chief Information Officer, Secretary Mayorkas also named me today as the first DHS Chief Artificial Intelligence Officer. I'd like to talk with you today about 3 concrete use cases where DHS is already using AI to deliver clear benefits for the American people, and then share the comprehensive measures we are taking to ensure that our use of AI is safe, responsible, and rights-respecting. First, DHS is using AI to keep dangerous drugs out of our country. Recently, a car drove north from Mexico and approached the San Ysidro port of entry in San Diego, California. In the past, the Customs and Border Protection officer that inspected that car would likely have had no reason to give it extra scrutiny. But this time, one of our machine learning models noticed a potentially suspicious pattern in the vehicle's crossing history. After looking at the model's flag, the officer decided to refer the car to secondary inspection, where we discovered and seized nearly 60 kilograms of fentanyl and 16 kilograms of meth concealed in the vehicle's rear quarter panels and gas tank. If not for this use of AI, those drugs could be on our streets. Second, DHS is using AI to aid our law enforcement officers in investigating heinous crimes. Last month, Homeland Security Investigations announced the completion of one of the most successful operations ever against child sexual abuse online. Operation Renewed Hope resulted in identifying 311 previously unknown victims of sexual exploitation and led to the rescue of several victims from active abuse and the arrests of suspected perpetrators. This operation relied on the expertise and dedication of our agents and our partners domestically and abroad. But our agents had an extra tool at their disposal. Machine learning algorithms were used to enhance older images and give investigators new leads. Through this use of AI, we were able to turn formerly cold cases into rescues and arrests. Finally, DHS is using AI to make air travel easier and safer. TSA has started rolling out touchless PreCheck in select airports, a new optional way of going through the airport curb to gate without ever taking out your wallet. Once you opt in, you can check your bag, go through the security checkpoint, and board your flight, all with just a quick photo. This process and TSA's acceptance of mobile driver's licenses in 7 states and counting use thoroughly tested AI-powered algorithms to save time, reduce physical touch points, and increase security by verifying identity more accurately. While I've highlighted these 3 examples today, DHS will use AI to transform all parts of our operation, from detecting and mitigating cybersecurity vulnerabilities to enhancing maritime search and rescue operations and far beyond. AI will provide smarter and timelier information to our agents and officers to aid them in making decisions and free them up from routine tasks to focus on higher value work. As we move forward, we will ensure that our use of AI is responsible and trustworthy, that it is rigorously tested to be effective, that it safeguards privacy, civil rights, and civil liberties while avoiding inappropriate biases, and to the extent possible that it is transparent and explainable to the people we serve. Last month, Secretary Mayorkas issued our key principles for responsible AI use. We are applying these principles through the DHS AI Task Force, which I lead alongside our Undersecretary for Science and Technology, by issuing comprehensive policies on specific types of AI, as we did just this week with new restrictions on our use of facial recognition. We will work alongside our internal and external oversight partners, to include Congress and this subcommittee, as we work to implement NIST's AI risk management framework and remain fully compliant with evolving laws, practices, and policies. Thank you again for the opportunity to testify today, and I look forward to your questions.
Thank you, Mr. Hyson. I know votes have just been called. I'm going to, before I gavel out and my colleagues can leave to go vote, I'm just going to ask my questions before we go and gavel out. Dr. Prabhakar, I'm going to recognize myself for 5 minutes. My first question is to you, Dr. Prabhakar. As the President's Science Advisor, you're the President's top artificial intelligence advisor. I expect you regularly brief him on AI. The Associated Press has quoted you as saying in a recent interview you've had several conversations with him about AI. How many times have you been able to brief him thus far in this position?
Thank you for the question, Chairwoman. The President has been very focused on AI. He's asked for briefings on AI at multiple junctures.
How many times have you been able to brief him?
I would have to stop and count. Let me give you a couple of examples. He met.
Is it more than one or
multiple times? He met with his Council of Advisors, PCAST, President's Council of Advisors on Science and Technology. I believe that was in early April. We had a discussion about AI before that, and then he spent an extended period with a room full of amazing science and technology experts, people using AI, people generating AI, and had a very extensive conversation there. Another occasion was...
What did President Biden say to you about AI?
President Biden has spoken publicly many times about AI. And
what has he said to you in these conversations about AI?
Obviously, I'm not in a position to say what he said in the Oval. I will tell you what he has said publicly, which is very consistent, which is that he recognizes how fast it's moving, how it is part of this pivot point in history, and the choices that we make are essential. He is very excited about the potential.
How would you characterize his level of understanding of AI? Do you think he understands?
I think it's excellent. The questions, he grills me and he grills everyone else who
he grills you.
Yes.
What does he grill you on?
Well, I can talk about the things that he has said publicly, and they are on many topics. He has talked about the ways that AI can be used. He's expressed concerns about the way that it can create problems. He has talked about the fact that he's married to a school teacher, and so he knows about how it shows up in education.
Does he understand its uses within the federal government? That's sort of outside, education, in the federal agencies and how it could be utilized. Does he understand that? Does he talk about anything relevant to the progressive AI?
The President is very clear about the breadth of applications of artificial intelligence, and his vast understanding, of course, as many years as a legislator and now as President, of all the functions of government, of the role that it plays in national security, but also in all the other functions of government. He understands, obviously, that it's clearly going to be a powerful...
The Office of Science and Technology Policy is not a regulatory agency. It's a White House policy shop. So can you explain what role you and your office play with respect to federal AI policy? How does that work?
We have several roles as OSTP. A core role is to be the place where the federal R&D enterprise comes together, where we work together and make sure that people know what each other are doing in areas across research and technology, but including information technology and artificial intelligence. When a massive new shift like this great acceleration in AI happens, one of our important roles is to be clear with our colleagues in the White House, with the President, with our colleagues in departments and agencies about how the technology is progressing, what issues they will need to contend with, what the big opportunities are. And that means that in the case of AI, our National AI Initiative Office, which Congress established at OSTP a couple of years ago, that cadre of people in my organization have been extraordinarily busy mapping out the risks, the opportunities.
So the question about some of some of the operations of your office, it maintains government-wide AI use case inventory. Is that correct?
Working with the Office of Management and Budget.
That inventory has been appropriately criticized in the press as being inconsistent and incomplete. The inventories lack uniformity, and some significant AI use cases have been omitted. So is your office doing anything to improve the inventories, to improve transparency with the public? What does that look like?
The initiative to start cataloging those use cases was an important one, and it's very much work in progress. We're getting good insights from what is already in that use case inventory and working with departments and agencies.
And then one last question, I got 25 seconds. OMB is more than 2 years late in complying with a congressional mandate to give federal agencies guidance on the acquisition and use of AI. The law requires OMB to coordinate with your office in drafting that guidance. So why, and very quickly, we have 10 seconds, why is the process stalled? When can we expect to see some guidance?
The Office of Management and Budget is working in a very focused manner on what they clearly understand as
2 years late
priority.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Our time is up, and I yield back. And pursuant to the previous order, and I apologize because we're out for votes, the chair declares the committee in recess subject to the call of the chair. We will stand in recess for vote.